Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Vinyl Vault. As always, I am your host Parker,
And I'm Tony.
and we are going to go ahead and let's just address the elephant in the room. There has been a musical group that has captivated the hearts of millions of people for a little over 2 decades now. I'm very passionate in defending them. They have a bad rap in the music scene, and it's not a bad rap as in they didn't do anything illegal, they didn't do anything unethical, they didn't do anything immoral. They simply just existed. And in a world in a society today where we want to give people the space to exist and not be rude to them, we've seemed to completely ditch that concept when it comes to this group. And I'm very much one of their staunchest defenders. I'm very much one of their stoutest defenders. And that, of course, is Nickelback. We talk about Nickelback, and they become sort of the butt of a joke in today's society. It's almost used as a way to put somebody down as like, oh, I bet that person listens to Nickelback, as if that's a bad thing. And as a society, we need to right these wrongs. And so I wanted to talk about Nickelback this week simply because the narrative on Nickelback needs to change. They need to be viewed in a positive light. They need to be thanked for the contributions to society. We need to sit there. We need to say, Mr. Kroger, the other Kroger, and all the other people in the group. They need to be thanked for their contributions to society. And so, so we had Tony listen to Nickelback this week, and Tony's very big into the hard rock, the thrasher metal, blah, 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 blah. So I knew that he was going to love this because this album has a lot of heavier metal style songs, and we'll get into that. But Tony, you obviously had the privilege to listen to Nickelback this week. Tell me how you feel.
You are a liar. Everything he just said is completely wrong.
It's not wrong. It's all the right reasons.
From the very beginning, before what you would claim to be a bandwagon hate or anything like that, things had already triggered with me when I first heard the first couple notes, and This Is How You Remind Me. And this has grown to a proportion where I'm so glad that the majority feels exactly the way that I do.
But the majority's wrong.
And here's the thing, is that upon listening to this album, which I will say, I admit I hated, that I did struggle. I struggled really hard. But,
I mean, the first half.
But I took the time to try to give every single song a chance and found myself going down a path where I was able to latch onto something interesting. And it indeed is the controversy behind the band's hate. So, I'm excited to go down that route, but I think because of how we've kind of structured the way we do our shows, we begrudgingly have to talk about the top 3 songs in this.
I'll give you, if you want to sum up this controversy real quick, I will welcome it.
Okay, so there is I think the band is extremely polarizing. There's not a lot of people that I know that are right down the middle, that will either absolutely love this band or will absolutely hate this band. And the controversy of it all is whether this band is good or not, and whether or not it's deserved. And I think that it is unfortunate for a band to actually blow big and then get, an immediate rejection, pretty quickly after they blow. And that really sucks for the band. And that's something that, that
They accept your condolences.
But that being said, they are one of the most successful bands ever. So it's also undeniable of what they were able to do with, the music that they produced. Now,
But
the issues can stem from either being overplayed, being overly successful, having a not being very good musicians, or being seen as almost like corporate puppets. And that's, to me, really the four arguments that people will latch onto. For me personally, I mean, I'm not a fan of Chad Kroger's voice, so that's, I mean, like I said, within first hearing this, him singing "This Is How You Remind Me," I'm like, this is a ballad, but this guy sounds like he's, lifting like furniture while he's trying to sing, right? And it just didn't fit for me, audio wise.
Well, make it fit.
And then, paying attention to the lyrics, I mean, extremely simplistic. To me, back then, it was just like, okay, it's a song. I'm not going to, listen to it a whole lot. It's just a song. But it would end up being the most played song in 2002, and then would be known as the most played song of the decade.
Rightfully so.
With 1.2 million listens on the radio. Now,
that's with an M, folks.
This is before Spotify and all of that, where you can cherry pick what songs that you like and whatnot. This was force fed to us. The statistic was that, like, from 2002 to like 2009, the beginning of "This Is How You Reminds Me" played almost every second. That's how absurdly it was played, and I think that
you got to give the people what they want.
That's how it all kind of started. But some historians have kind of dated back when the hate first started. And I don't know if you want to go down that now, or
if you can sum it up, because I've got some stuff for you.
Sure. In 2003, a comedian named Brian Posehn, on a show called Tough Crowd on Comedy Central with Colin Quinn, made supposedly the first public announcement that Nickelback sucks. He said, and I quote, "Bad music makes people violent. Nickelback makes me want to kill Nickelback." So that in particular clip was actually used as the main promo for Tough Crowd on Comedy Central, and it played for 6 months straight. So if you watch that episode, all the people around Brian Posehn, and including Colin Quinn, did not know who Nickelback was. But after the 6 months, suddenly more and more people were talking about how much they hated Nickelback.
So you're telling me that the reason we hate Nickelback is, and I'm saying not we, you in society hate Nickelback, is simply because of a cheap shot joke on a Comedy Central show that no longer exists?
I think it was a Kickstarter to what I think is the bandwagon. Now, I personally, like I said, I don't personally feel like I'm a part of that, because I already had issues before that. Because of how what I was hearing. I'm in the school of sound, song structures and lyrics and just general music, and we'll go down that when we start talking about individual tracks or the top tracks and what have you. That's my main problem with them. Like, but it just didn't help that
it just how society looks at fanny packs.
Yes.
Well, at one point, fanny packs were cool. And then someone just decided, no, those are nerdy and dumb and stupid. And if you have one, then boo.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Comedy Central, aside the fact, in some point in society, somebody with some kind of influence, and this may be your person, but I think that they were more of the straw that broke the camel's back rather than, the Kickstarter of it. Just society determined that it was not cool to like Nickelback. And I think that it's, obviously this is nowhere in the same. Sorry, our podcast doesn't have Taylor Swift on it. So sorry, we will not have Taylor Swift on for this, but
unless she comes to the station.
Unless she comes to the station, and she's not going to do that. I mean, 3 hours away, make the drive, or make the flight. But you and today it's easy to take shots at Taylor Swift. It's easy to take shots at the pop star. It's always what's the rule in comedy? You always punch up, you don't punch down. And I think that at that time, you talk about how often Nickelback was on the radio. I think Billboard, I think I was doing some of my research, Billboard has this album as one of the top 10 albums of the entire decade, the one that we're talking about here. I think that it was easy for society to turn them into a punchline and bring them down simply whether it was jealousy. Was it jealousy of their success and their hard riffs? Maybe. Some are saying it.
No one's saying it.
Me, I'm
Parker's saying it.
I am someone,
Yeah.
and some are saying it.
There's literally dozens of us.
There's literally one of us. I just have this opinion that like they haven't done anything wrong. They haven't broken any laws. They don't have any scandals. They don't, like, you know what I mean? So like,
You think ultimately you think it's unfair that people are?
I think it's unfair.
Yeah.
I think it's like, for example, like, I don't know. I don't want to use the main one as an example, but like, think of an artist over time that has had a scandal. All right. Michael Jackson. Sure. I mean, I don't know if he legally has been convicted of the things, but he has
Kelly.
R. Kelly. That's a good example. And now people associate R. Kelly with bad things, and they look at R. Kelly in a different light, and they don't like R. Kelly because he did something wrong.
Yeah.
Nickelback didn't do anything wrong. And I'm not saying that they're viewed in the same light as R. Kelly, but for the amount of hate that they get, there's nothing to equate to it other than dudes in their garage making jokes about how it's dumb music. And just to be clear, for legal purposes, I'm not comparing them to anybody that has committed a crime or done anything wrong. I'm not saying they're as big as Taylor Swift. They are not. I'm not saying that I'm not comparing these artists. I'm just saying in terms of a realm of, does this band deserve the criticism that they get? Musically, sure. But it became a cultural punchline of Nickelback sucks. And it's like, get over yourself. I mean, people out there listen to Wham and Michael McDonald. I mean, those are also GOAT artists. So
now you know who I'm trying to debate and converse with. So for all of you at home,
I was talking to a teacher today. We're doing back to school stories, and I was talking to him about Nickelback, and he goes, "Well, Nickelback sucks." And I was like, "Where do you get off? Who are you?" And he said Nickelback, for people that don't listen to them, it'd basically be if Dire Straits used the same guitar as Metallica does. And I was like, interesting. Interesting. Because if you listen to this album, I'm pointing up at the screen that has the album. I'm not pointing up to Chad, the GOAT. This album, if you don't listen to it too hard, if you don't focus in too much, and you just listen with your ears.
I don't want to.
If you just use the things attached to the side of your head.
Yeah.
It's a decent album. I argue that the band has better music, but it's a decent album. It had like 7 or 8 singles on it.
Yeah.
You have, and this was at a time in 2005 where you had music that was very, you still had like your 3 Days Grace. You started to go into your Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco era. And so harder rock was starting to become less mainstream. They still kept it mainstream. Now, they had some singles that were very pop rocky, If Everyone Cared, Photograph, Saving Me. They had the pop-ish rock, but they still had the hard rock like Follow You Home, Side of a Bullet, Animals. Now, we'll get into the one that I hate, and I think that you and I will hate the same song on this album, maybe for different reasons.
Okay.
But it's so undeserved. It's so undeserved.
So,
and I hope that more people in my generation will look back and think, man, I kind of just went with the trend. This stuff rocks.
And maybe that's the case. If I can try to, talk on my side and make it a little bit more understandable, because obviously you're thinking it's unfair and what
Very
have
passionate.
you. I think of wrestling. I think of
Doesn't matter what you think.
Think of your John Cena and your early Roman Reigns. Now, these are two characters that were deliberately thrown into the zeitgeist and were supposed to be the faces of the company.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a torch handing thing.
It was but it was also like corporately made, and structured so that the viewers would, are forced to like this instead of having it organically. That's how I view Nickelback, ultimately, is that I feel like they are a mediocre band that had the backing of a record label that was able to promote them like crazy and, just progressed this, like it just dulls the music industry because a band that is not up to par, not up to par, is being so overly successful. And to me, like they are writing the same maybe 3, maybe 4 songs, as hits. It's the same song, just slightly structured differently, but it's the same thing. There's no, it's so there's no pushing the boundaries of trying to do something completely different.
Well, I'm so sorry that this was not a concept album.
No. I mean, this is just basic music stuff. When I listen to their music, I don't believe anything Chad is saying. I don't believe that he's obsessed with these women and is having all this drug use and driving fast cars and things like that. It feels like he's a poser. And that's my problem, is that I can't connect to that. And I don't think that he did all these things. And that's, my issue whenever the irony of the song Rockstar, where, that song is sarcastic and tongue in cheek about how the typical rock star does all these stereotypical things and then, falls from grace. But their entire time, they are literally singing about, stuff that all, stereotypical rock stars that actually live this stuff, they're singing about this stuff. And it doesn't,
I'm gonna push.
I don't
back
feel
on
like
that.
it's real.
I'm gonna push back on that. I don't think that song is about him living a life that he doesn't live. I think it's him imagining what it would be like to live the life of an '80s rock star. I mean, who has a bathroom the size of a baseball field?
Right. I mean, so he's talked on interviews saying that song is like satirical. It's supposed to be tongue in cheek. It's supposed to be sort of making fun of the concept of trying to be famous.
Well, then I'm all for it. Make fun of him.
But
you've swayed me.
The irony of it is that, though he's making fun of it, he's talking about stuff that I just don't believe in him. And what he's saying. And it all still kind of stems back to, the first hit. Or of like, okay, here's a super popular band. Why is this band so popular? And then they put out these new songs, and I don't believe them. And they write the same songs, and they continually keep doing it. Why are they so, popular? I don't get it.
You gotta go to the well.
And, so like the exciting part about listening to this album is that now I get to hear the non-hits, to see what didn't make the cut, and if it has anything more substance or
I will
something
concede
like that.
to you that most of the famous songs, and I say most of the singles that reach the most success are those pop rock, which I do also think that had something to do with to curate people's opinions. One of the specific songs that I like the most, I'm going to do my top three. Obviously, I like Animals, I like Photograph, and then I think Side of a Bullet. And you'll notice if you ever listen to Side of a Bullet, it's very heavy rock. It's very heavy rock. It actually features a guitar solo from a gentleman that Tony, and you're very familiar with.
He's my real dad.
Dimebag Darrell.
He's not my real dad.
I don't know if we were able to say Dimebag Darrell on here, but
it's fine.
Dimebag Darrell.
Yeah.
I believe he was one of the founding members of Pantera. and that's probably one of your cornerstone groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, my question to you, sir, if that man was willing to get in the studio with the same band that has all this hate, does that not sway you that maybe this band's a little more cut up to the job than you might have thought?
No, because he was not in. He didn't record for them. It was outtakes. This was after he died, and this was outtakes
don't ruin it.
of his solos. They just wanted to honor him and found some old solos that he never used and things like that, and put music around it.
We have this running joke outside of recording that every time I feel like I have something to make a joke about, Tony always seems to have this like sad story or emotional attachment to it. And so that's why I was like, don't ruin it. Because I was like, I finally got him in my sights and he's like, yeah, so he passed away tragically and they honored the band. I'm like, I can't just stop.
There's no rebuttal to it. Yeah,
It's like
I promise I am totally doing that on purpose.
Everyone's gonna be like, what's wrong with this guy? You just can't make fun of him. No, but it's a great solo. And like I get it. Outtakes or not, I wouldn't say outtakes. And there's nothing funny about that solo. I can't think of a better way to,
If I could play devil's advocate to myself,
play it
with to help your argument, his family members and everything like signed off on it. So I don't know if they were necessarily fans, but they appreciated that a band of that stature was willing to, honor
and
their
kudos to
family
Nickelback
member.
for going through the right channels to get that, not just to sneak through and just utilize it. I think Nickelback is at their best when they're doing that hard driving, bass kick on 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
But what were your favorites?
So my top two.
You don't even have a third.
So the third, so If Everyone Cared was probably my favorite of the songs. To me, that one, it at least had extra meaning to it, the lyrics and stuff like that. And his melody choices were really solid. So I was like, okay, like this one's okay. I'm still not a fan of his voice and everything like that, but like this is a a direction that seemingly is like, yeah, do more of this stuff. Write about something that I feel like you do care about.
I think the music video was pretty decent too. I haven't watched it recently, but this is more of a core memory. Shout out Inside Out. Isn't it a bunch of people like holding signs?
Yeah, well, the whole thing is sort of political leaders and people who have and charities and things like that. It's a real showcase on if people really cared and loved and everything, that the world would be a better place.
Nickelback is for the people.
It's for the people. I still have issues with it quite a bit, but I appreciate what they were trying to do. They're at least trying to make a positive note out of a very bleak world that we do live in. So my second
Armstrong would once say it's a wonderful world, but that's fine.
My second favorite again was Side of a Bullet. And again, I even with Dimebag on it, it still wasn't the greatest, but I appreciate what they're trying to do, and it was different than the formulaic, songwriting stuff that they had done before.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's about it.
I just think it's interesting. Like you listen to their next album, Dark Horse, and they had such success with this album that you thought that they would go fully headfirst into the pop rock.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I mean, if you listen to the Dark Horse album, they have Burn It to the Ground. They have one called Shaking Hands, which that song is really just about a woman. I think the lyric is she didn't make it this far by shaking hands. So interpret that how you will. But then they also still leaned into the pop rock, but not fully selling out. Whereas some people would already argue that they have sold out. I assume.
I mean, I think they were sellouts from the beginning.
Wow.
I-
They
yeah,
started as grunge.
they were post grunge. Please do not.
They started as grunge. It was Nirvana,
No, post grunge.
Stone Temple Pilots,
Please don't.
Nickelback.
Oh my god.
All right, we're gonna do the. So I assume we have the same one that we hated the most. So we're gonna do like a 1, 2, 3. Say the name.
Okay.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Animals.
Next contestant. What? Okay, go ahead and tell me why you hate animals. I'll wrap it up with why I hate next contestant, and then we'll see what the public decides.
Animals to me is like I'm listening to a teenager who's trying to write poetry for the first time. It is
It's a story.
it is that kid is also trying to be Macho Man Randy Savage, and writes these music that it's supposed to sound cool and rocking, but it seems so fake and trying to carbon copy what has already been done. There's no real creativity placed into it. It's just a straightforward song, about a subject matter that they like talking about, which I still believe that they do not
They
do.
can't stop talking about relations.
And it just, for me, I mean, the voice, like that is the song. Like I didn't think it could get worse. Hearing the entire song and like that, my first 2 listens, I audibly went ugh whenever they start playing, and then I could feel my hand already trying to hit skip. I'm like, no, I'm supposed to listen to this.
He's lying. He's smiling the whole time.
I'm not. I am being so genuine here.
See, he's smiling right now talking about how he's lying.
Because I'll admit another thing. Driving home listening to this, anytime I stop at a red light, I turn it down. And would look at other people to see if they were looking at me.
It's such a guilty pleasure. You don't want people to know you're listening to it. I once had a teacher tell me that there's
guilty pleasure. No. Do I wish people had no idea? Yes. Yeah.
I once had a teacher tell me that there is no such thing as a guilty pleasure, because if you like something, you should be unashamed and you shouldn't feel guilty.
Yeah.
Nickelback. That being said, the worst song on this album by far, and I mean by far, I'm talking like far.
And I already know what it is, and it's pretty bad.
It's Next Contestant, and here's the thing. I don't hate it because it's a Nickelback song. I hate it because social media ruined it. When TikTok was in its heyday, there was this weird trend where dudes who were not tough would make TikToks acting as if they were tough, but they would specifically use Next Contestant. And it was going into the chorus. It was like is that your hand on my girlfriend? And they would like weirdly walk into the frame and like pretend that they're defending this girlfriend that they don't have. And it ruined it for me, because every time I hear the song now, I just see these like little stick figure dudes walking into frame. I wish the camera was wider so you could see the arms. It's not. They're just like walking in, and they live out this weird fantasy where they're like at the bar and they see like a girl minorly being inconvenienced, and they're like, "Ugh, let's take it outside, bud." And it's like, she's working. Like, just leave her alone. Yeah, Chad Kroeger was like weirdly obsessed with like women with promiscuous job titles and defending them. I mean, we should defend women, but these, I agree with you. These are situations that I do not think reflect Nickelback's true life. I mean, these guys, I mean, I don't know. I hate that song so much. I don't even have to hear the intro. I see the words and it's an immediate skip. And it's all thanks to TikTok. I think that if you have to make a video of you acting tough, you are not tough. And especially whenever they're trying to like lip sync the lyrics, but they're doing that thing where they're kind of looking around because they're in a bedroom. And know they don't want people to know that they're making a TikTok. I don't want to say hypocritical because they're not trying to lecture us.
Yeah.
Disingenuous. I'll use a big word. Okay. I'll use a big word today. It's not genuous. It's disingenuous.
I can say that I had not heard the song. It is not a part of the algorithm in which it pops up it should not be in my social medias, luckily. So I got to hear it, and it's like right after Animals, right? Like,
yeah, he went through like a weird phase where he was like, all right, this is a song about reminiscing about high school, and then this is me fighting a guy at the bar.
Well, the second verse, he's like talking about fighting women as well. Like, there's no win
Your
in
Honor,
this situation.
There's no evidence of that. Music is meant to be interpreted differently. No, but just to round this up, I think that, I know that in Tony, you may feel this way too. You may completely contradict me when I say this. We know that we're not going to change somebody's life with these arguments. We simply just want you to revisit the music and then also, just give them another chance. And if you don't like them, you don't like them. Do a little soul searching. Maybe figure out why you don't like them. Was it something from your childhood? Did somebody that you look up to tell you that they sucked? And so you're like, well, I got to think the way that guy thinks. That guy is cool. Mm-hmm. Was it Tony that told you that they sucked? And you were like, well, I can't go against Tony Gwynn. I feel that they were given a bad hand. I mean, I say they were given a bad hand. They are multimillionaires. We will never meet them. They will never see this. They're living high off the hog. They're doing great. That being said, they don't deserve the hate.
I would concur.
You hear that? We won. Thanks for coming out.
I would concur that, yeah, you should give it a listen and see if it was something that was just something in your past, someone that has said it and you've never given them the chance. I have done the same. I was not a fan of Pearl Jam. I was not a fan of Creed. And I'm not a fan of Nickelback. That's just currently like the three bands that I have vocally have told people I do not like these people. Yes. Now that I'm older, I can appreciate and actually do enjoy things from Pearl Jam. Creed has kind of won me over a little bit more.
Hold me now.
Nickelback, I don't think ever will, as I think everything that I didn't like about the first two bands is culminated into Nickelback.
We will get him to like Nickelback.
But upon doing research about the controversy and everything like this, I really appreciate that they are still doing it and they're leaning into it as well. They just know that like there's no winning, so you might as well just go with it. Like, hey, you guys, you're gonna hate this song. We're gonna play it anyways because some of you guys will like it. And I think that's great that like it hasn't deterred them too much. I also think it's great that there's people like you, Parker, and just you, Parker.
What does that mean? People like me.
That vocally say, like, I really like this band and I would defend this band. Yeah. I think it's great that, you at least have a voice for yourself. That's extremely important. But I think...
I'm not some brave David versus Goliath. There are people out there that have these opinions.
Whatever you say. But I will say, I think you're also hurting the band. Because I believe that this band is so mediocre that the reason they are so popular is because they're polarizing. You love them, you hate them. If enough people start saying that they like them and start, enjoying them and whatnot, the haters will start going away. I don't think, and they haven't had a huge hit in quite some time, that they will disappear because they're no longer polarizing. I think that you Nickelback lovers are killing Nickelback.
That's like saying, gosh, if everybody loved Elton John, he'd have just faded away before The Lion King came out. Like, Nickelback is past their prime, but that doesn't mean
You're killing them.
Do you think that
Your argument is helping
just
their
because
demise.
something is past its prime does not mean it loses its value over time? See Mona Lisa, for example. We can argue that Da Vinci is not in his prime. So he's not putting out any new hits. But we can look back at some of his hits and go, yeah, maybe people did pose like that.
Maybe one day there will be some sort of crazy resurgence of it. And I think that's sort of happening now.
Yeah.
But I think because there's people who are coming out of the woodwork and being like, hey, we were the minorities, but now we want to let everyone know that we are Nickelback lovers, that you're making them so in the middle. And the worst thing that you can have, be as an artist is someone that nobody talks about.
You can't sit there and tell me that they're not on the Mount Rushmore of divorced dad rock.
My issue is that there's better bands that can do it, and I don't think that they belong up there.
It's weird. I didn't hear 4 bands. I just heard a bunch of no.
I will not subject myself to trying to take one band name and
now it's
associating
beneath
it
him.
with the other and thinking that they're somehow
Now
on
it's
par.
beneath him. The best divorced dad rock bands are Three Doors Down, Creed, Nickelback, and Daughtry. Those are the best. If I could drop this mic, I would. But we'll save that for next week. So, obviously, let us know how you feel about the comments. Is there any other groups that you think that are just as polarizing, if not more polarizing? Let us know. And definitely take a second look, take a second crack at Nickelback, and let us know what you think. And, Tony?
Or just take my word for it that you don't have to.
just trust Tony.
I've done it. I did it for you.
We do it
so
for
you're
you.
welcome.
We do it for you, so you don't have to. But signing off from the Vinyl Vault. Tony, did you want to do a little teaser for next week?
Ooh, let's go down some. Let's change genres. We've done a lot of rock lately.
We've done a little bit of rock lately.
Maybe we go 80s pop.
Ooh.
How about 80s pop?
Okay.
Here's a teaser. Okay?
All right. Well, signing off this week for the Vinyl Vault. I'm Parker Padgett.
Tony Wynn. We'll see you later.